Look, I have had the evolution of Luther Burden III on my mind all week, and the latest reports confirm he is officially taking over as the primary weapon in the Chicago Bears offense following the departure of DJ Moore. This shift is massive because his efficiency metrics are now mirroring elite legends like Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. It creates a fascinating dynamic regarding how this team handles its high-end target distribution moving forward. I am Lucas, and honestly, the more details come out, the harder it is to ignore what is going on behind the scenes. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city in the comments below. Let us get into it. Something is weighing heavily on my mind regarding the Chicago Bears, and we need to discuss why Luther Burden III is poised to take the league by storm. After a patient rookie season where head coach Ben Johnson carefully managed his development, Burden has emerged as the clear successor to the vacated target share left by DJ Moore. We all hoped for an immediate impact upon his arrival, but the staff chose to spoon-feed him to ensure long-term success. The breakthrough arrived in the second half of the season, and it has us believing he is truly a star in the making. And here is why that is a big deal. ESPN analyst Ben Solak recently highlighted that Burden recorded 2.92 yards per route run, tying A.J. Brown for the highest rookie mark in 15 years, placing him alongside legendary names like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. For us longtime fans, this is immensely validating because we witnessed his growth through early struggles and limited starts, making this year feel like a true coronation for a young man who consistently makes defensive backs look foolish with his acceleration and secure hands. Seeing those raw efforts translate into such elite efficiency metrics changes the entire trajectory of this offense. However, we must consider the lingering tension regarding the team balancing these high expectations with the ongoing development of Rome Odunze. If Burden is the new primary target, how exactly will the play calling shift to accommodate two elite targets fighting for the same deep field real estate? While we know Caleb Williams loves to push the ball downfield, managing the egos and precise target distribution between these two talented playmakers remains the next great hurdle for this coaching staff to clear before the regular season kicks off, leaving me to wonder exactly who becomes the true centerpiece. The most overlooked reality regarding this transition is that the front office initially debated whether to trade up in the draft for a defensive piece rather than committing fully to Luther Burden III. This hesitation stemmed from a conservative philosophy that prioritized immediate roster depth over long-term wide receiver development, a strategy that caused significant friction during the team's early rebuilding phase. After investing heavily in his transition, the coaching staff finally allowed his efficiency metrics to skyrocket, proving that his 2.92 yards per route run was no fluke. We remember how past offensive regimes in Chicago struggled to balance young talent with veteran expectations, often resulting in wasted seasons that stalled the development of promising quarterbacks. History teaches us that ignoring target distribution early on leads to locker room instability, which is precisely why the staff is currently walking a tightrope. What nobody is talking about is the quiet pressure mounting inside the front office as they evaluate whether this specific offensive configuration is sustainable against the upcoming strength of schedule. The organization recognizes that relying on a young core requires immense discipline, and they are terrified of repeating the disjointed play-calling patterns that plagued this franchise during previous eras. Behind closed doors, the staff is obsessed with avoiding a scenario where competing egos derail the progress made during the second half of the season. They are meticulously calculating snap counts and route combinations to ensure that every player feels valued while the team maintains its aggressive, explosive identity. If the coaching staff fails to navigate this internal complexity, the chemistry between the primary quarterback and his new receiving leader could fracture before the first kickoff. Our team is at a crossroads, and how they manage these competing interests will define the success or failure of the entire upcoming season for all of us longtime supporters. The transition of this offense toward Luther Burden III represents a fundamental turning point that will define our championship window for the next several years. Because we have cleared significant salary space by moving on from established veterans, the roster is no longer relying on expensive names, but rather the explosive efficiency of young, ascending talent. This matters right now because the team is shifting its identity away from traditional ball control toward a high-octane vertical passing attack designed to maximize the specific skill set of our quarterback. With Burden securing the primary target role, we expect a drastic alteration in our depth chart where rotational players must now prove their worth as auxiliary pieces rather than focal points. And I cannot stress this enough, the success of this strategic realignment determines our ability to compete in marquee matchups against top-tier opponents this autumn. When we face our toughest divisional rivals, the ability to exploit defensive secondary units with Burden's speed will be the deciding factor in whether we control the clock or find ourselves chasing points in the fourth quarter. These upcoming games are vital because they serve as a litmus test for how our new offensive philosophy holds up against disciplined, veteran-led defenses. If this synergy between the coaching staff and our playmakers continues to improve, our trajectory toward a postseason berth looks significantly more promising than the projections suggested just a few months ago. By prioritizing this specialized development, we are not just playing for the next game. We are building a sustainable foundation that keeps us in the hunt during the most important weeks of the year. Seeing this transition unfold in real time gives me confidence that our front office has finally found the correct path to deliver the kind of consistent, winning football that we have been waiting to enjoy for far too long. The upside of centering our offense around Luther Burden III is undeniable because his 2.92 yards per route run, as noted by Ben Solak, proves he is a refined weapon capable of producing at the same level as A.J. Brown or Justin Jefferson. By trusting a player with such specialized efficiency, we create a vertical threat that forces defenses to respect every blade of grass on the field. However, the inherent risk remains that relying on such a young primary option could lead to inconsistency if defenses decide to bracket him, leaving our quarterback without a reliable secondary outlet. We have seen other teams struggle when they force the ball to a singular rising star, and the potential for a disjointed rhythm between him and Rome Odunze is a valid concern for the coaching staff. And the more I look at this, I notice that national analysts are already drawing comparisons between Burden and the legendary production of A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson, putting immense weight on his shoulders before the season starts. While the hype is intoxicating, I think it is premature to assume he will perfectly replicate those numbers across a full 16-game schedule. Here is where I land on this. While the talent is clearly there, the front office is gambling that Burden will evolve into a leader overnight despite his lack of veteran experience. I appreciate the optimism surrounding his ascent, but I suspect the transition will be messier than the current narrative suggests because shared target distribution between two top-tier receivers often causes more headaches than highlights during the early weeks of the season. It is a bold strategic shift for this organization, and frankly, I am not convinced our play calling will be disciplined enough to keep both of these young studs happy through the grind of a long winter schedule. For the Chicago Bears, this shift signifies a deliberate transition toward a modern, high-octane offensive identity that aims to remain competitive for the next several seasons. By prioritizing the growth of Luther Burden III, the front office is signaling that they trust their scouting and developmental staff to build around a core of young, explosive playmakers rather than relying on veteran stopgaps. Fans should feel optimistic and energized heading into the season because we are witnessing the rare birth of a legitimate star who has already proven he can produce at a level comparable to the best in the league. Seeing a rookie match the 2.92 yards per route run metric of A.J. Brown is not just a statistical anomaly, it is proof that our offensive system is finally clicking. Now, here's the thing. The challenge of balancing these targets between Burden and Rome Odunze is a luxury that few organizations ever experience. We are in a position where our primary concern is managing an abundance of high-end talent, which is a massive departure from the stagnant offenses of our past. While the internal pressure to keep everyone happy is real, having a surplus of elite options gives our quarterback every possible advantage to succeed in this scheme. It is a refreshing era for us, provided the staff keeps the ball moving efficiently. Given the 2.92 yards per route run benchmark, do you believe Luther Burden III will surpass 1,000 receiving yards in his second season? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Bear down. I'll see you in the next one. Your constant support truly fuels this entire community as we analyze every single draft prospect and future star together. Stay tuned for more breakdowns because the best content is coming very soon.